We've all seen in the cartoons and the early comedy sketches the two people desperately trying to use a hand-driven cart to catch up or get away from a train, or some bad guy using it as a getaway, or even two characters using them just to get around. But what truth are in these carts? Amazingly, quite a lot. The first type of handcart started to appear around about the 1860s, and they weren't the type many would expect. No one could really be accredited for their initial design, and the cars were commonly made from materials left over in the workshop. Because there was no real design, the cars tended to be heavy and had to be powered by more people. The more people that needed to power the wagons would contribute to the total weight that needed to be powered. In short, they weren't the greatest and barely functioned. In America, where the idea of the handcart took off following the Civil War, companies were advertising their own designs for prospective railroaders. It was at this point the pump rail car was introduced, and production flourished. Soon, 3 major manufacturers led the way and were producing railroad carts right into the 1950s. So why are handcarts needed in the first place? Handcarts and crew provided one of the most important and safety-critical jobs on the railway: track maintenance. The entire length of track was sectioned into several miles, and gangs of men were assigned to a section. It was their task to ensure the track was kept in good condition and to make repairs where needed. But travelling up and down the tracks on a daily basis wasn't easy. Horse and cart was expensive and impractical off the beaten track. Engines and carriages were simply not a feasible option, so the handcart came into its own. It could carry about 4 to 6 men and be lifted off the track, ensuring that any engine could pass freely without stopping. But it wasn't an easy task. The hand pump had bronze bearings which stuck, and the dead weight of several men, equipment, shovels and pry bars added to the total weight. While some made it seem simple, you had to be very physically fit to operate one of these carts. The carts, however, were not without incident. Because the carts could be on the track at any time, engines and crews had no way of knowing of the men working. Lookouts were deployed to alert trains and workers, but accidents were all too common. There were multiple incidents where the trains would hit the cars and crews with devastating circumstances. Another type of railroad cart was the railroad velocipede. This three-wheeled oddity was invented by George S. Sheffield in Three Rivers, Michigan. It was rumoured that Sheffield, sick and tired of the lack of adequate trains, built the velocipede to help with his 7-mile commute. One night, as he was travelling down the rails, he noticed a break in the track and flagged down the night freight train following behind him. The railroad, thankful for Sheffield for stopping an accident, helped him patent and fund his invention, and his invention was rolled out as an inspection car for railroads up and down the country and were used right up until World War II. The US was not the only country that experimented with handcarts. In Japan, it was actually used for passenger services. The Jinsakido, or the human car tramway, was first opened in 1891. Instead of engines, the narrow-gauge railway carriages were operated by drivers who pushed and coasted small train cars up and down the tracks. They were built specifically for passengers and freight, and the lines were not very long. The line, however, didn't last long. Many tramways moved from human traction to machines, and the last handcar tramway ceased operating as a human-powered tram in 1912. In India, human-powered cars are still widely used, even today. The cars are perfect for bridge inspections. Officials ride the carts, carrying instruments to measure the tracks in rural areas. It can also be used to inspect and repair signals. While the majority were used for official duties, over time the role of the handcart changed from inspection to fun. Since 1992, the Folsom, El Dorado and Sacramento Historical Railroad Museum has held a handcart derby. Local businesses, charities and local groups all get together and race their handcart and put their handcart skills to the test. Each team is comprised of 5 members, 4 pumpers and a pusher. At the start of the race, the pusher pushes the cart into motion and the pumpers pump the handcar to the finish. The following day, the pusher has a chance to shine and is automatically entered into the pushers contest. Dependent on weight divisions, pushers compete on how far they can push an empty handcar down the track on a single push. Velocipedes are also welcome and are a brilliant sight. While many handcarts are consigned to either the Railway Museum or the movies, thanks to its cinematic debuts, the handcar is one of the most recognisable pieces of machinery, and thanks to the museums all over the world preserving these unusual machines, I'm glad that I'm being able to see these more in places than just on screen.